Hello there, Only One Kenobi here, Only One. As we eagerly anticipate the arrival of the Cantina, I just thought I'd do a little catch-up on how things are going on with the gunship. So, to start things out, I have backed the gunship. I already have this, and I also have that, as I've said in other videos. That's the Gendy Rancor. But this new one does look great. So I've backed it. I'm not backing more than one. But that's as far as I can, that's all I can say. It is crawling, no pun intended, because I want to talk about the Sandcrawler in this video. Would that have done any better? Well, and there's other things as well. Lots of discussion online. People are talking about the Death Star quite a lot. I'll give you my thoughts on that too. But at the minute, it's painful to watch the numbers. There is a link in the description where you can watch a tracker of the daily numbers coming in. That's via the John Miko Facebook group. Thanks, Dean, for the information on that as well. But if it doesn't back, wow. It doesn't back. I have a gunship. I was always happy with that one. I never wanted a gunship as a Haslab. Haslab, let's talk about the Sandcrawler now. That's what I wanted. Should be always for something that is really impossible to get at retail. Now, one could argue that the gunship needs an update because that is 2 decades old, that vehicle, that now. But it was always big. And I was always happy with it. But I dare say the Haslab treatment, 20% bigger, it will be awesome. It needed that space for things like the glass turrets. So there's the people who are saying we don't need it, we already have it. But I meet you halfway. There is the argument that it needed an update. For example, this is an update of the original Falcon. The Falcon was always big, the one back in the 80s. But this is definitely bigger. Massive, 2.5 feet long, 4 in the cockpit. So, but still, even with that, this was from an era when they were making vehicles bigger. But the Sandcrawler, I just want to show you a few images in this video, as you probably have seen in the thumbnail. There are some really tasty looking 3D printed examples of the Sandcrawler that are possible. So much so, they're so good that I actually think to myself, well, if they don't make one, which I don't really feel like Hasbro are going to do a Sandcrawler, you could always go elsewhere and find other people in this market we live in of 3D printed this, that, the other. Maybe I could commission somebody. I do know this, that my man Ian Butler from IB3D, he can do one. He has the files, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm looking into that. Watch this space if you want to see a bit more of that, because I think he might even be making one. And I can't wait to share with you what that looks like. So would the Sandcrawler have done better? I don't know. I don't know. We won't know because they didn't put it out there as a Haslab. There has been objection to the Sandcrawler. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people have said things like, what's it going to be? It's just going to be a box, somebody said. It's going to be a brown box. That's cobblers, man. What are all these other vehicles, man? Let's have a look at them. There's this. We now have that. That's a new legend. And then you've got classics that go back years. What are they all? Iconic. Legendary. Amazing designs. The Sandcrawler is just the same, ladies and gentlemen. It's just very big. Difficult to do in that scale. Hence why it should be a Haslab. That's why the barge was perfect for Haslab. If they made the Sandcrawler, I've always said this, on the outside it would just look like the Sandcrawler, which is just an amazing design. Just like that looks great and that looks great. And if you want, on the inside, man, you can do whatever you want. And as these 3D printed designs show, you can have all sorts of stuff going on the inside. Wow, level after level. I could finally store all my spare droids. I've just dumped them here for now, but this is my droid sales shelf, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new around here. But there's tons of droids you can get, and I know where I'd store them. I just tuck them nicely away. It'd be awesome. Get your Cobb Vanth in there as well, man. I think it's cool, man. as opposed to the Death Star. Now, people are talking about wanting a Death Star set. I've never liked the idea of having like a doll's house. But as you can see here in my collection, I've got shelves. So if they were to bring out a Death Star gradually, you know, like they did the Tantive 4 here, you could have like, well, they could do that mainstream, couldn't they? They could just bring you the diorama for the meeting. And then they could bring out a few months later, I don't know, a corridor, like we had that for the Power of the Force 2. That's a Cell Block 1138, you know, like they did there, you know what I mean? Oh, look at that. Speaking of 3D printed, Ian Butler, that's another one of his babies there. Please excuse the state of my shelves, ladies and gentlemen. This is not how I normally display figures. Everything's just dumped. I've been moving things around. So I'm just totally writing off those people wanting a Death Star there, man, because you could just... Some guy did say it could be like vignettes all together. Or something, use the word vignette, I like that. Just like dioramas, a bit like the cantina is gonna be, just modular. My plan when I get the cantina, I'm gonna have it on loads of shelves, as opposed to it being like a film set thing, because that's what it looks like, the cantina. Let's not beat about the bush. When you look at it from outside in, the thing about the Death Star is it is massive. And those locations in the Death Star would have been miles apart probably. So that's why I've never been a fan of the Death Star dollhouse thing. Because you'd never have, the cell block wouldn't be next door to Tarkin's meeting room. And so on and so forth, you know. Oh, there's another Death Star thing over there, look at that. Forgot about that. My mate gave me that. Mike. People do display their barge open like that doll's house thing. You can do that. And I dare say if there was a Sandcrawler, you could have it open and show what's going on inside. I've never displayed my barge like that. I just like it looking... I want to see the exterior, basically, so I've never really had it open. Did a bit of toy photography once and opened it up for that, but, you know, do whatever you want. But the bottom line is, right, such an icon, Sandcrawler. That's why I'm totally in that team. Quickly, just to say again, I've said it before, I'm repeating myself, the Shuttle Tidarium, speaking of scaling up, like now, they want to scale that up, which is already a big scale. The problem with the Shuttle, and I will say this again and again, that's the last of the original trilogy vehicles that hasn't been scaled up. Look, now, 4 in the cockpit. AT-AT. Now you can get more than 2 in the cockpit. Shuttle Tidarium. That's one of the later releases of it. Saga Collection 2006, going on to bloody 2 decades in itself. It's crazy. You only get 2 in there, just like you did in the 1980s. So that's why that's another case for an upgrade. Yes, a bit biased for the original trilogy there, ladies and gentlemen, but there's the other issue, ladies and gentlemen. Who are the main key buyers of Vintage Collection? Well, the data is showing it's mainly OT buyers. I don't dislike the prequels, I love them. But where are you people? Why aren't you backing it? Apparently, I wouldn't really know, I don't spend too much time going through all these forums and such like, but the word is that they were crying out for a prequels Haslab. Well, so far there's only 3,000, that's including me, and I know a ton of people who haven't bought it for other reasons. That's about that. Anyway, they clearly haven't got enough people backing it, and the rate is very slow, ladies and gentlemen, and there's got to be a reason for that. I think they need to give us something else. Maybe more clones. Maybe they should have had a stretch goal with, I would have preferred people like him. Because you see him. He's there in shot. And he's to be done for TVC. That would have been good. But anyway, it's struggling. It's crawling. No pun intended, ladies and gentlemen. Crawl, Sandcrawler. Would that have crawled a little faster? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen. Just thought I'd give you my thoughts. Please check the link in the description to keep an eye on the tracker. I'll be doing a live stream with my good friends Daniel Chart, Mike from Solo Shot First, and Tim from Bosk's Bounty has also confirmed he is available on that Monday, which is the 18th, I believe. If I've got that date wrong, I'll put it on screen. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Only One Kenobi, Only One. Out.